Welcome to another episode of our series. Today we will be talking about time flow. Time plays an important part in our lives. Everything is based on time. But psychologically, what it means? Physical time we know. The clock runs and we follow it. But psychologically, what it means? Now is here and now is there. When here it is here now. When there it is then. But when then was now. There was here. Whenever anything happens, it happens now. And now is this happening. Each moment when it is this moment is right now. This is Dogen Senji's poem in Being Time. Then we will see what Gabriel Popkin has written in Christian Science Monitor. Almost nothing is more obvious than the fact that time flows from the past, which we remember, toward the future, which we don't. Scientists and philosophers call this the psychological arrow of time. Hot coffee left off your desk cools down and never heats up on its source, which reflects the thermodynamic arrow of time. Many researchers note that real-world objects that store memories, such as human brains and computer hard drives, often heat up as they operate. Heat generation increases entropy and is an irreversible process. So the laws of thermodynamics requires that such objects can only run in one direction, from past to future. So now let us see what Paul Davies says about this. This is posted by John Steele. The flow of time is an illusion. What does it even mean that time is flowing? When we say that something flows like a river, what we mean is an element of the river at the moment is in a different place at an earlier moment. In other words, it moves within the respect to time, but time can't move with respect to time. Time is time. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that that time does not flow means that there is no time, that time does not exist. That's nonsense. Time of course exists. We measure it with clocks. Clocks don't measure the flow of time. They measure intervals of time. Of course, there are intervals of time between different events. That is what the clock measures. Then let us see what Zen says about this time. Zen does not deny time any more than it ignores the laws and rules of society. But Zen sees time uniquely. Zen sees time as right now. Neither the past nor the future exists. Only now is actual, and now does not last long. This is the Zen way of seeing things. Then let us see what Hinduism concept of time. The passage of linear time has brought us where we are today, but Hinduism views the concept of time in a different way, and there is a cosmic perspective to it. Hindus believe the process of creation moves in cycles, and that each cycle has four great epochs of time, namely Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And because the process of creation is cyclical and never-ending, it begins to end and ends to begin. This is a quote from The Concept of Time by Subhamoy Das. According to the Advaita philosophy, this world we live in, the space as well as time is a projection of your consciousness or your awareness. In fact, your mind, your thought as well as your physical attributes are just a projection of that consciousness into the state of waking. Advaita Vedanta calls this projection as Maya. Maya creates appear and multiplicity in universe, where only Brahman really exists. The world has no existence really means the world has no existence absolute. It only exists relative to our minds. It is perceived by us. by our five senses. That is what is meant by the no existence clause. It is a mix of existence and non-existence. This is Maya. It is the projection or manifestation of the infinite through our finite minds. Everything that has form, everything that calls up an idea in your mind is within Maya. For everything that is bound by the laws of time, space and causation is within Maya. This is a quote from Harimenan, Vedanta student, Blogspot thing. Then let us see what J.Krishnamurti says about it. It is the mind, it is thought that creates time. Throughout this thought is time, and whatever thought projects must be of time. Therefore, thought cannot possibly go beyond itself. To discover what is beyond time, thought must come to an end, and that is the most difficult thing because the ending of thought does not come about through discipline, through control, through denial or suppression. Thought ends only when we understand the whole process of thinking, and to understand thinking, there must be self-knowledge. This is a quote from Choiceless Awareness of J. Krishnamurti. Perhaps man has developed this idea of evolution through watching a little bush grow into enormous tree, the baby into manhood, the developing of muscle. That muscle is weak, but practice and exercise and it gets strong. So this idea of evolution, growing, psychologically thought has taken it over saying, I need time to become something. We have accepted it. We live by it. We are accustomed to it. It is our habit. I can't do this. Psychologically, tomorrow I'll work at it. I'll try. Which means you have developed the duality. I am this, but I'll be that, right? I am angry, but I'll get over it. Which is the little seed growing into an enormous tree. The baby growing into manhood. The little animal which has not strength to walk, run, will take time. So that same observation has entered into the psychological field, and there we say we will be born, we will become. Is that so? You understand? That is, there is physical time, and we have cultivated the psychological time. Now, why have we created psychological time? Sanan, 7th Public Talk, 23rd July 1978. Is it possible to meet every issue without this space-time interval? Without the gap between oneself and the thing of which one is afraid? It is possible only when the observer has no continuity. The observer who is the builder of the image, the observer who is the collection of memories and ideas, who is a bundle of abstractions. This is a quote from Freedom from the Known, page 93. Psychological time exists only when there is comparison, when there is a distance to be covered between what is and what should be, which is the desire to become somebody or nobody. All that involves psychological time and distance to be covered. So one says, is there a tomorrow? Psychologically, and this you will not be able to answer. Is there tomorrow? Tomorrow having come into because I have had a moment of complete freedom, a complete feeling of something, and it has gone. I would like to keep it, to make it last. Making it last is a freedom of greed. We struggle to achieve that thing again. All this is implied in the psychological time. When you have some experience of joy, of pleasure, or whatever it is, live it completely and do not demand that it should endure, because then you are caught in time. Talks with the American Students, Chapter 4. So with this, we will end our discussion on time. And it is a vast subject. There are a lot of books which you can read, which will tell you why time has limited meaning, or what the sense of meaning. It has no existence on its own, and it is different psychologically at different times or different states of mind. It either moves fast, moves slowly, and as you travel faster, the time changes. and at some point of time there is no time if you travel so fast because the speed of the light. So with this we'll end this episode. Stay with me, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.